Alan, how did they sell the 22nd Amendment? Was it that we're America and we're not going to have a dictator? Because I've heard a lot of people say that if we're in a true democracy and the people want someone to serve for 8, 12, 16 years, then the spirit of democracy is that they shouldn't have that limitation put by other people. So I'm just kind of curious how they got that through and what do you make of that argument?
Sure, I think it's a strong argument. Look, Winston Churchill was the great savior of Great Britain during the Second World War. What happens immediately after the Second World War? He gets thrown out of office by a nobody who gets elected because of unemployment problems. On the other hand, the former prime ministers of Germany and the current prime minister of Israel get elected over and over and over again, and there's nothing undemocratic about that. In Netanyahu's case, of course, he was elected, then he was unelected, then he was elected, then he was unelected, and who knows whether he'll be elected again. But why not let the people make those decisions? I don't think that multi-term executives are inconsistent with democracy if the elections are fair and open. If the elections are like the ones that occurred in Venezuela, that's different, obviously. But even a one-term president elected Venezuela style or Cuba style or Russian style or Iran style, that's not consistent with democracy. So as the great Judge Learned Hand once said, democracy isn't dependent so much on the law as what exists in the hearts and minds of the citizens. And that's true, but amendments and law can help promote democracy. And I think the framers of the 22nd Amendment felt that there was a risk that the next person running for a third or fourth term won't be Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He'll be more like Stalin or Hitler, and we have to prevent that through law. So that was the debate. It was very much influenced by Roosevelt's term in office.
Okay. All right. Well, now let's dive into the loopholes. And you said that's kind of why lawyers exist, because it is all about the loopholes. And like you said, you would assign this to your students. And so let's talk about what the 22nd Amendment says can and can't happen, and what are the ways around it, because you can get pretty creative. Peter Thiel took $500,000 and turned it into $1 billion using the exact same techniques we're using inside the investment club. He met a CEO, his name was Zuckerberg. He pitched him the deal and he said, okay, I'll give you $500,000. Mark went public and sold the shares to people like you. Well, what happened to Peter? Well, he exited and got a 2,300x return. The wealthy invest in early stage companies, folks. The public markets are for suckers. It's a rigged game. By the way, this happens in crypto as well. It's called pre-sale tokens. This is Solana. Does anybody know this chain? They sold pre-sale tokens for 4 cents. And you can see the date on there, April 5th, 2018. Look at Solana today, folks. That thing's up over 1,000x. The media and Wall Street and all these hype people get you to buy the top. Meanwhile, they put their clients in at the bottom and they use you for liquidity to make their clients rich. You can play this same game. You just have to have the financial education and the deal flow. That's it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you first what won't happen. Nobody's going to run for a third term. There are all kinds of barriers to that because states determine who's on the ballot. And there would be enough states to say, look, if you've had 2 terms, look at the 22nd Amendment. We're not going to let you run. But there are many ways in which that can be circumvented. Let me give you a potential example. We live in an age of terrorism. It is not beyond the range of possibility that a president and vice president could be assassinated at the same time. We already have what's called a designated survivor. When we have the State of the Union message, the cabinet is in the Congress, but one member of the cabinet stays home and is surrounded by guards in case, God forbid, there's a massive explosion and everybody is killed. You still need to have a president. So let's assume the president and the vice president are killed, and then the current Speaker of the House is incompetent, either very old or of a different party or no experience. And so the House of Representatives elect somebody. You don't have to be a member of the House to be elected Speaker of the House. Elects Obama to be Speaker of the House, or Clinton to be Speaker of the House, or Trump to be Speaker of the House. And then according to the statutes, that person ascends to the presidency without being elected. That's probably the most likely scenario. that could occur. Another one, which is much, much less likely, is you have a second-term president who runs and loses in the electoral college, or even wins in the electoral college, but he tells his electors not to vote for him. So on the first ballot, the electoral college fails to have a majority for any one candidate. Then it gets thrown to the House of Representatives, which chooses, not elects, a president. And we've had that happen in the past, where the House of Representatives, Jefferson, others, were chosen to become president by the House of Representatives rather than the Electoral College. In my book, I catalog a series of possible ways. They're thought experiments. They're not designed to tell people what to do in the real world. But as a law professor for 50 years, I specialized in creating hypotheticals for the students to address. And the reason to have a hypothetical is when you have a hypothetical, you don't know the name of the person. It's behind a veil of ignorance. You're addressing a systemic problem under the Constitution without knowing who will benefit and who will lose. That's what I try to do in the book. I'm not seeking partisan advantage. I'm for 60 years, I've been a Democrat. I did vote against President Trump, both in 2016 and 2020. My wife will not allow me to reveal who I voted for in 2024. So to preserve my marriage, I'm keeping that a secret, but I'm not a Republican. I'm not a partisan. And so the book is not designed to help anybody serve a third term. It's really designed more to get the 22nd Amendment to be amended to make sure that the will of the people and the will of Congress is reflected in the statute.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long. And the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you.